I hope you found the video insightful as you consider the impacts of other people and the way that we think. Social cognitive theory has been at work since that experiment, really thinking through um, the implications in classroom settings, in social settings outside of classrooms, and just really thinking about how other people influence our thinking. The experiment that took place was several decades ago, and it would not be considered ethical in some of the ways that the kids were used in those experiments. We generally have a rule with the IRB, which is the research board. They have to look at every experiment you want to do and make sure that you're doing no harm, that if anything, it's neutral or improving things for the child subjects that are a part of it, because they can't really discern whether or not they want to be in the study. It's usually a parent or somebody that approves it. So you wouldn't be able to conduct the experiment in the same way in today's world, but it is still valuable for us to continue learning about social cognitive theory. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some more information about Bandura. This is the kind of triangle that he uses to explain how everything kind of fits together and how they're connected. Notice that the arrows go both directions. That behavior, a person's beliefs, attitudes, expectations, thinking, and intelligence, that whole cognitive sector of who they are, and their environment all play a role. And the reason I put self-efficacy in there is because that basically means somebody's ability to think about their own worth and their own ability to accomplish something. And Albert Bandura continued his studies and wrote several pieces on self-efficacy and the educational environment, as well as other different scenarios. He looked at just different demographics and different circumstances, and looked at how that impacted somebody's ability to believe that they could do something. And so he has a lot of insights that continued after the Bobo doll experiment to really contribute to the way that we understand our attitudes and the way that we think about different things that we are experiencing. So he has a lot of contributions to that can really play a role in our classroom settings. So one thing that we would have done if we were in class together was one word, one image, one question about each of the 4 different aspects of the observational learning process, which is thinking about how we really observe and take in different things, and how these different factors play a role in that. So my encouragement to you is, when you're designing your Admit Slip 11, that graphic for social learning theory, to make sure you incorporate some images and words that kind of tie to your understanding of these different 4. And I want you to kind of consider the implications in classrooms and in society and in media. And think about where some of the things that we're learning about this theory can kind of play a role in our classroom setting. And we will follow up when I get back next week. We'll do a little bit of a recap around the things that we've learned around social cognitive theory. But this is a big piece of that. Another side of the social cognitive theory is to think about how we can use this in the classroom to help our students learn better. So we think about it helping us monitor, manage, and regulate behavior. So in the text, you're going to be reading about self-instructional methods, where it talks about modifying our own behavior through self-talk, replacing negative with positive. That deals a lot with that self-efficacy that I talked about before. And then the self-regulatory learning, which is focused on learning goals that are self-generated. So thinking about goals and implementation, self-monitoring, refining, and evaluating. And how can those pieces play a role in the classroom? Again, these are really important pieces to include in your graphic and to read really carefully in your textbook, just so that you understand what it is and how it could be used in the classroom setting. So for this week of learning around social cognitive theory, it's a little different because you can do it all in one chunk, or you can space it out a little bit differently than we normally do. Admit Slip 11 is going to be the graphic where you're synthesizing the theory as a whole. You're going to complete quiz 11 just to make sure you've got a lot of the content knowledge that you need around this theory. And then you're going to be doing reflection 11, which tells me what you think about this theory. What connections are you making? What thoughts do you have? What opinions do you have about those different pieces? And then you can complete the learning theory chart around social learning theory, social cognitive theory. When we come back together next week, Tuesday, we'll do some investigations around different examples of this, and then we'll do a little bit of a recap to make sure y'all are good to go in understanding the key pieces of this theory. So just to reiterate from the previous videos, you hopefully have watched the behavior video, that wrap up. You have done your discussion board on ABA. You have watched the first video of this slideshow, the Bobo doll video, and now this one. And then you should be set up to complete the learning tasks for after Easter break already. So we will see you all on April 2.